Is that why Elon Musk was actually took your advice when you said to him? Were you surprised by the way that he did this after you encouraged him to move, uh, you know, out of for Tesla in away from U.S. dollars into Bitcoin?
Well, he's a very decisive and a courageous executive, and so he generally moves with alacrity when he decides it's time to do something. And I think he does understand the challenges of sound money, and he understands that if you're sitting on top of billions of dollars of currency in a conventional treasury strategy, then you've got a negative real yield. And most people don't calculate the negative real yield right. Conventional treasury strategies for corporations are yielding 1% at most. And the money supply is expanding at 15% or more. You could argue 20%, you could argue 25%, depending upon what you look at. But if you track the M2 broad money supply, a number between 15 and 20% looks pretty likely on a year-to-year basis. So that means the negative real yield on treasury strategy is minus 15. And that means if you divide that into 70, it means you're cutting your entire treasury in half in about 4.5 years. That means in 10 years, you're cutting it by 80%. That means if you had $10 billion, you're burning $8 billion in the decade at the current rate. That's $8 billion of shareholder value. So as a fiduciary, you could probably look the other way when the monetary inflation rate was 7%. But when the monetary inflation rate goes to 21%, at some point it's irresponsible as a corporate officer to burn 21% of the money in your treasury every year because you're afraid to do anything different.
Well, he's going to be making an appearance this weekend on Saturday Night Live, and there's a lot of buzz about what he might say around Dogecoin. Of course, he loves to tweet about that. Here is Dogecoin at this hour. 59 cents was up to 67, back and forth, back and forth. What's your take on this type of coin and the buzz around it? When obviously you're a Bitcoin guy, but when you hear something like Dogecoin, what do you make of this? And what would you say to my audience about it?
I would say that the Fed is expanding the money supply at 20% a year, and they're buying $120 billion worth of bonds, and the EU is buying $120 billion a month worth of bonds. So you've got all of the bonds in the world being bought by the central banks. So investors have been squeezed out of bonds. You can't buy bonds with any decent nominal yield. The real yield on bonds and cash is minus 15 to minus 20%. That's created a mad scramble for a store of value for all investors, and so they've all scrambled into ETFs. And first it was the Spider ETF, and then it was other ETFs. There's 2,500 ETFs. Equities have become the store of value, and that keeps pushing people out because they've lost confidence in conventional strategies and conventional money, conventional bonds, conventional treasury strategies. Because they've lost confidence and they've literally lost hope, they're being driven to speculate more. And the result is the GameStop saga. The result is the Archegos saga, where they put on huge leverage on equity. The result is the SPAC explosion, where people are literally buying speculative shell companies that do nothing but potentially do something that we don't know what, but they figure that's better than holding cash. They're being crowded into cryptos, and I think that the wise ones are buying Bitcoin because they understand that this is sound money for the next 100 years. But I also think that people are speculating in other cryptocurrencies, and it's not that different than the GameStop thing. People are looking for something other than to wait and watch their money get debased. I think also, it provides entertainment. People are getting entertainment from Robinhood. It's kind of fun. Dogecoin is fun, and if I take away the ability to go to a professional sporting event and gamble at the sporting event, then this is another way for me to gamble in the market. So I think ultimately it's good, it's understandable in the monetary environment. It's good for the crypto industry. It's generating massive awareness and massive enthusiasm. Lots of people are signing up. Lots of people are opening up accounts. I think there are 3 million people a week or more that are opening up accounts. I don't think that you're going to want to leave Dogecoin to your grandson or granddaughter. But on the other hand, I wouldn't begrudge you gambling on a boxing match or gambling on a basketball game if it were legal in the jurisdiction when you do it. I mean, what's the difference between that and buying a lottery ticket or just paying to go to the game, right? I mean, it costs money to do it. It costs $200 to go to a concert. And so if it's not allowed to go to the concert and I have the $200 and I'm bored on a Saturday night, what's my outlet? I think people are going to take a portion of their money and they're going to invest it in things they deem safe. And a safe thing a savings account is like Bitcoin. And they're going to take a portion of their money and they're going to bet it on equity that might not be so safe. And they're going to take some of their money and they're going to gamble it on something which is just fun and a flyer. And sometimes they just do it to give the finger to somebody. And sometimes because out of frustration, what else are you going to do?
Well, I think the finger thing, that I think you spot on. I think because, I worked in the mainstream media for 20 years. I know how the belly of the beast works, and I see all the, the corporate mainstream media wanting to point the finger at the GameStop trader, the little guy who wants to be in Dogecoin, when the real, you mentioned SPACs. When you look at the massive speculation, I mean, here's an article just today from David Dayen. Financial speculation is about more than GameStop day traders. The real speculation is happening at the top of the market through skyrocketing merger transactions and increases in the power of the biggest companies and these special acquisition companies. So it's very easy to paint the little guy as causing all this hysteria when the real thieves are sitting at the top. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I don't begrudge any individual investor their investment. I think you got to give power to the people, right? I mean, you should empower the public. They're adults. Let them live their life.
Right. Like Mark Cuban said, I'd much rather buy Dogecoin than buy a lottery ticket. I think he's right about that.